Welcome to the Deadcast.
We're all dead here.
You're all gonna fucking die.
Derek,
That's a threat.
Derek's been
Take that threat legally.
Don't say that. Don't say stuff like that, you maniac. This is Quentin.
This is Derek.
Derek's been dabbling in the occult lately.
Yeah.
Is what he's been sharing with me.
I
just
summoned
now.
a demon. His name is Alfred.
Oh, nice. That's a good demon.
His name is Bill Cosby.
Oh boy. That explains a lot of stuff. But this is Human Pasta. Hello
Hello everyone.
again.
What's going on? I fell on my ass today. I also wanted to talk about that.
Okay.
I wanted to mention that I slipped on the ice and fell on my ass before I came over here.
Oh no! Is it all right?
My booty's fine. I was
My
trying to go get my
booty's fine.
trash cans to bring into the garage, and I just slipped on the ice in my driveway, and I
And
fell
fell
straight
right.
on my ass in front of my neighbors.
I'm sorry, because that reminds me of earlier when you were talking about when you got stuck that one time.
Oh yeah.
And I all got to see that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just a fucking clown now.
That's too bad. You're not a clown to me. Well, you are funny at least.
I'm a little jester.
You just caper around the room when we're not on mic.
Mm-hmm.
No, right before I hit the record button. That was pretty abrupt, wasn't it? I just kind of was like, "Let's go."
Yeah,
I didn't even give us like whatever.
we're fine.
You
I
mentioned-
do whatever. That's like our thing now. Is I interrupt. I have a thing to say at the beginning.
That's true. That's
Wherever I go, okay, or
we do some of the
the last episode. I said this episode is sponsored by penis pills.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, we do a little bit of technical stuff, and then as I'm like doing that, you just kind of launch into the show. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I think it's good though. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the icy plunge or whatever. You ever done one of those like Arctic? What I forget what they're called, like a polar plunge or something.
Jumped into a cold pool.
Oh, there's this thing we used to do in Vermont where like my friends used to do it. It called polar plunge or something. I can't. Polar was.
Is it
in
when like people run into like the freezing cold water?
Yeah,
Like,
but you do it in the spring. You don't do it in you do it in the springtime. And it's supposed to be like a
therapeutic thing or whatever, like relaxing. I've heard about it.
yeah, because the first day of spring, technically, like oh, it's spring on the calendar. It's
Mhm.
never actually spring weather in Vermont. Like it's still snowy and shitty, but the ice is melting enough that like if you go through it, it's only kind of slush on top.
Yeah.
So you won't actually get stuck under it. Like you can still get out real easy. And I used to know people that I never did it. That was a
That
real
sounds
tangent.
fucking horrible.
We also used to do this thing called like spring fling or something where that was further into the spring where like in the valley it's actually kind of warm, but up on the hill there's like on the mountain there's still like snow, and they'd make this giant like ramp and this little jump, and you would ski down or snowboard down and see if you could jump over this pit of like ice water that they poured and or skim across it. And there was one time I put a kilt on and nothing else and got on my snowboard and I went down and I didn't make it, but actually I almost made it. I didn't make it all the way to the end. If you're on a snowboard, what's nice is when you go down, if you hit the ramp the right way, you don't try to go for the air. You try to like get a trajectory that's like flat across the water. You can actually get a lot of mileage just on the surface of the water because the board is so wide. That's what I tried to do. I made it. Yeah, I didn't actually fall over. I think I only landed. I was about knee deep. Anyway, dumb story. You talked to Deadcast. You mentioned right before we hit record. You went and saw Medium.
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. I saw a Medium because my aunt was telling me that she saw a Medium because we had a family friend that passed away not too long ago, and my aunt was really really close with this person, and she saw a medium, and the medium was really good, and like saw this person and said all these kinds of things, and I've always wanted to see a medium. Oh. And I was just more I was just more curious than anything, and like I had told Quentin too. I've been reading a lot about ghosts and mediums. I'd gotten really interested in this stuff, and because I wanted to explore other beliefs because I've been like an atheist for a while, and but I've always kind of believed in other supernatural stuff. I just never really knew what I believed in, what I didn't believe in. So I've been reading a lot about ghosts and science about ghosts and what have people found and about the afterlife, just to see like looking at things from a more scientific perspective. So I was curious to go see this medium. You can hear the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got Jangler coming around.
So I was more curious than anything.
Dude, that's that's really interesting because I don't really believe in ghosts or anything, and I've never I know people that they start believing in ghosts and stuff because they have what they believe is like an encounter with one.
Right.
I've never experienced that.
I've never experienced a ghost either. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think we've talked about ghosts before in another episode, but I believe that 90% of what people see as ghosts is something else. Mm-hmm. I think that. I do think it's like your mind playing tricks on you, or it's mental illness, or it's like carbon monoxide, or in the book I'm reading, it's called the Ghost Studies, or the Ghost Study. Really,
drop an author. Yeah, drop an author name.
I forget what the author's name. Damn it. We'll Brendan Musolo.
We could put it in the description.
Yeah, it's really good book. I haven't finished it, but it's really interesting. And he was talking about like electronic frequencies and magnetic frequencies, and how like if your fan is at a lower frequency than what the rest of your room is, over time that frequency can make you hallucinate, and like it's really so like
auditorially,
or? like paranormal investigators will have the I forget what they're called, the like meters, like the
that is on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, it's like the
EMP something.
Yeah, EMP meters, something like that. Yeah, so they'll use those meters pulse. And it's supposed to detect ghosts, but really they can use it and detect like the frequency, and they'll just say, "Oh, just turn off your fan," and people will turn off their fan or get a new fan, and they'll stop. The ghost will stop haunting. The ghost will stop haunting their house.
Dude, so, I really like the idea of like someone like freaking like there's a ghost hunter. They're like 90% of a ghost person's job is being like, oh, get some new technology.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. No, it is really funny. Like there were stories of people like their clock, like their alarm clock is weird frequencies. Just getting the alarm clock. That is
so weird.
Yeah, something about magnetic frequencies too, like. There was like I forget what it was, like a haunted house. It's like a haunted castle in England, and people report seeing ghosts in the bedroom.
That says a lot about how sensitive our ears are.
Yeah, there's like there's a difference in magnetic. There's like a 200 difference in magnetic frequency from the bedroom to the window, and people think that like sudden change in frequency.
Oh,
like
so. When I was still in school, one of my last classes I took was about it was like multimedia, like authoring, like particularly pertaining to like digital media. And not to like cut you off, but that's one thing we talked a lot about with like auditorial experiences. Like if you create like an auditory experience for someone, how like paying attention to high and low frequency sounds, and how like we have naturally tuned a lot of lower frequency sounds of like the planet out in place of these higher frequency like like listening to music all day, or like just like it's like a, what did they call it? It's like a collection of low frequency, low quality sounds in your like auditorial memory scape, so that you don't hear lower frequency sounds that you would hear if you like didn't, like basically like it's your brain has sort of like trained itself to tune certain lower frequency sounds out in favor of all these like higher frequency like technological like sounds or whatever, and you have to sort of like retrain your brain to pick those lower frequencies up. So it's really interesting to hear that like it's some of these ghost issues is a difference in like it's a matter of frequency, and it's like we're so tuned into like we don't realize how much of an impact sound has on our lives until like shit like this happens.
I mean, there's like infrasound, which is like the super super low frequencies, and that's what also causes ghosts. There's so many different reasons for ghosts to happen.
Yeah.
But I do think that the other 10%, I think that there's something there. I don't think that ghosts are necessarily like from a religious standpoint. I don't think I don't know if it's like a person's soul, like dude, like once they die, their soul and they go to heaven, or it's like someone trapped in purgatory. I think it's more. I think those concepts of like heaven and hell, I think that's just our human brain like trying to rationalize it. Like this is what we came up with.
Yeah, that's
I think I don't know if it's like reading the book. I don't know if it's more about like energy or like our consciousness sort of going into a different plane like of energy, and like this is what we see as ghosts. Like I do think that there's something, but I don't think in a traditional stance.
What you're saying is something I've heard before, and that's a theory. This is a sort of theorizing I am more inclined to accept because it makes some sense. And I've heard, I mean, to a certain extent, like it does sound a little wacky, like, but if you think about it, I mean, like the plasma in our veins is like, it's a, you know, we are run essentially like we're electrical conduits.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about all these like different frequencies, it's like electrical hums that are like affecting these auditorial hallucinations potentially. And the other way to think about it too is like, well, we all come from like stardust. So I don't think it's like absurd to think that like perhaps that energy isn't the same person, and maybe it's not like the same as like, oh my God, it's the living dead, but like energy like resonance. I don't know. Like, like it sounds a little like crackpotty and weird, and it
makes more sense to me than all the other religious stuff, or like this sort of getting closer to fairy tale stuff.
Yeah, this is getting closer to like a scientific...
some kind of wacky ideas. The book kind of talks about a collective consciousness that we may have there may be an existence of a collective unconscious that like...
This is like, something else I've heard.
Like there was a story of a woman who she woke up in the middle of the night and she felt like she was bleeding and like coughing up blood and like dying, and she ran to her bathroom and she kind of collapsed, and then when she got up, and then she, got up, and then the next day she got a phone call saying that her son had died in Iraq the same time that she'd experienced that.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So it's sort of this idea that like we have this sort of collective unconscious and that maybe it's sort of to our survival that like we can sort of communicate to people that we're really close to or related to, like really close friends.
You can tell what's happening.
Yeah, like sort of, it talks about ESP and telepathy and that. And he also suggests that maybe something like a poltergeist where things are moving, that maybe it's more of ESP and telekinesis, like we're moving it, because he's noticed that most ghost happenings and poltergeist events happens when people are under a lot of, when it's a time in their lives when they're under a lot of stress and under a lot of, like, whether they're moving or they just lost someone, they're under a lot of, they're in like a crisis mode. So maybe they're saying they have this, they're, because they're in crisis mode, they're activating some sort of power, and that's what's making objects move.
I love that.
So there's more, and he's also saying like maybe that's what's explaining ghosts is so. All of this I've been reading about. Back to the medium story. I wanted to get to the medium.
Sorry.
All that is what I've been researching and leading up, finding all that very interesting.
Yeah.
And I believe in that stuff, grain of salt. I mostly believe in that stuff. I think that could be the case. More interesting ideas that I've never heard of.
It's closer to a scientific explanation rather than a supernatural one.
Yeah. It's more tangible. So I was curious to see the medium because I'd never seen a medium before. And I was skeptical. I'm a skeptical believer.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't.
fair.
I take everything with a grain of salt, and I, needs to make sense to me. I don't just blindly
You're a
believe.
wise believer.
Yeah. So I wanted to see the medium. I was very skeptical. I wasn't sure what she was going to say to me. I saw, my aunt had seen her and she said she was good, and whether she was good or bad.
Oh, the same one.
Yes, the same medium.
Nice.
Whether she was good or bad, I just wanted to see her. I wanted to have that experience.
Right.
So I saw her, and it was a very interesting experience, and I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay.
Because I had a very good experience.
Okay, good.
It made me kind of believe, I have to say.
Oh, all right.
So I won't go too much into what she told me, because
it's probably pretty personal.
Some was kind of personal. Yeah. A lot of stuff about my future, what I should do. She saw a lot of stuff she guessed a lot of things right. Like she just out of the blue went, "Are you a writer?"
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, I direct and write, and a lot of stuff about what I should do, what's going to happen. But the big thing that happened was that my grandfather apparently came through.
Oh, okay.
And so she asked me, "Are you a child of 3?" I said, "No." And she said, "Is your father a child of 3?" I said, "Yes."
Oh.
She said, "Okay, so did your grandfather pass away?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "He's coming through." So she was like, he wanted me to tell you that he loves you.
Okay.
You know, he's proud of you.
Right.
And
they all do.
Yeah. So I was skeptical. So
Sorry.
I was very skeptical. I was like, okay, you know, like I heard that and I was
Fair
like,
enough.
yeah, I was like, all right. So then I asked her, I said, can you tell me what he did for work? Like, can you tell me like,
oh, you challenged her.
Yeah, I challenged her. Yeah, because I wanted to know. I asked her like, can you tell me what he did for a job, or like, can you get that from him?
Real quick side note: is your aunt on your father's side?
My aunt is on my mom's side.
Oh, so this aunt that told you to go see the medium is. Oh, okay. Cool.
But sorry. Also my aunt did not say anything.
Okay, well, because I was gonna say that was more my head went immediately.
Yeah, my aunt didn't tell her anything about me. All she knew was that I was her godson. That was it.
Cool.
She said
crazy.
She just said my godson wants to get a reading.
Right.
That was all she said.
Fair.
So yeah, I asked her, "Can you tell me what he did for a job?" Because I wanted to challenge her because I was very skeptical. I didn't believe it. I said, "Can you tell me what he did?" And she said, "I'm not getting what he did for work, but what I am getting is like Earth." Something about Earth. Did he garden? And I was like, holy shit, yeah, he did garden. And he was a gardener. And she was like, yeah, is that what he did for like fun? Was that his creative outlet? And I said, yeah, he loved to garden. That was his thing.
Yeah, whatever, go on.
No,
everybody gardens.
Well, not real, but like that was
a lot of old people I know garden.
I know, but that was his thing, was that he liked to garden. That was his like passion. Like besides, that's what, like he had a big vegetable garden. He liked tending to plants and tending the hedges, and that was like his thing.
Horticulturalist.
Yeah. So that kind of freaked me out. And she was like, he wants you to tell your dad to calm down. He's like, is your dad a very anxious person? I said, yeah, he's incredibly. No. She was like, yeah, he wants him to like calm down, relax, like take a deep breath.
We've talked about this. That's crazy. Yeah, that is what gets me. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, and like I guess my grandfather told me to get my head out of the clouds and just relax.
Oh, okay.
So that was really nice. I got kind of emotional. I didn't cry, but that got me emotional because
weird.
Yeah,
like, whoa.
Yeah, so that was really profound, and I wish I could have asked more. I only had a half hour. My session was only a half hour. I wish I could have. I don't know. I wanted to ask more. I should have asked him like, where is he? I should have asked him where he was. Like, I don't know.
They'll never give you that info.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty profound.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and she read me my card. She did a reading, like a card reading, like tarot cards. And yeah, told me all this stuff, and I asked her about like moving, like should I move, like about all this stuff, and yeah, I won't go into it because it was a lot, and I recorded it too. She let me record. The session.
Whoa! Okay.
She let me record the session as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was really,
dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty profound, and it kind of made me believe a little bit because there's no way she could have known any of that stuff. And she was really,
she was a necromancer.
Yeah, she was really.
That's what that is technically is considered. Necromancy.
She was really nice. She wasn't weird or anything. She was normal. She mentioned like, I have 2 kids. I have like 3 kids. They're going to college. You know, like she seemed normal. She didn't seem like she was trying to swindle me. It was only like $30. It wasn't like $100 for a reading. It was only like
it's 300 yen in Shenmue. You could see medium in that game.
Christ.
Sorry. The readings are actually important, but not that, I don't know.
Yeah. So it was interesting, and it kind of reinforced my idea of like, I don't think it's heaven or hell, but it's something. There's something there they can contact somehow.
Yeah, I think we layer a lot of cool mysticism over it, but it could really just be like a transference of like electrical like memory.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And
Like-
yeah, and my fear with believing in the afterlife was always that, if I believe in an afterlife, then I'm just gonna get lazy and be like, well, I don't have to worry about this life because I'll live in the next life.
That's true.
But if it's just that I become a mass of energy, then I just want to I'd still want to live the best life I can, because I don't
let me put it like this. You have an understanding of all your faculties right now. So you have like a clear understanding of like what's enjoyable, what's not enjoyable in this existence. But if there is another existence of energy, you don't know what that's going to be like. So until you get there, right. Like, I feel like it's one of those situations where like, the grass is always greener, but in reverse. Like, you already know what this existence is like, so you're comfortable with it.
Right.
The idea of experiencing a whole other manner of being is like, I see where you're coming from. It's like, yeah, why would I want to go do that? Let's enjoy it now, which I think is a healthy way to view it.
Well, yeah, if it's just like, if that's the next stage of existence, that's fine. But I want to enjoy this existence now, because
you know how to.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to like watch a movie again, or hug a person, or touch a puppy. It's like
exactly what I mean.
Like, I don't believe in a heaven. If it's just a transference of energy, then I better still enjoy it. Like,
yes, you're familiar with all the things you enjoy in this world. So once you leave that familiarity, if
I just become sort of like this omnipotent thing of energy, and I can just sort of like travel across the earth, but I can only be from a viewing standpoint. Like, I just want to enjoy it best I can. Then, like,
Scipio's dream is like that. He had like a whole dream when he was in Scipio Africanus, the Roman senator. I think he was a politician, and I mean, all the Roman rich people were politicians and soldiers. I think he was some, I don't know if he was a general, but I know he was involved in the invasion of like Northern Africa. And when he was over there with his troops, he had a dream before a great battle where he met, like, it was like that, where they're like, he basically talked to these beings out, like he like felt his like, not his body, but himself, like, lift out of himself. Yeah. And like he could hear like this chorus of like, he didn't call them angels. He just said like there was a chorus of like voices singing and talking, and like he moved towards them, and he's like, couldn't tell like who it was that was speaking to him, but it was basically like the cosmos saying like, hey, dude, if you follow like who you are and like you do well to yourself and your country, like you'll end up with us. And it's like, this is what it'll be like when you die. Essentially, you won't be able to do anything, but you can see and understand everything. Yeah, it was like this weird.
Yeah, he basically had like almost like a lucid dream, like it was with astral projecting or something like that.
Yes,
he's like astral projecting.
Sorry,
maybe that's what like lucid dreams, like you come out of like, or astral project, like you come out of your body and you see.
Maybe it could be.
Maybe that's kind of what life. Yeah, maybe that's what the afterlife is like. You're just maybe it's not like heaven or hell or purgatory. It's just, you become this massive energy and you can just kind of float around the earth. Like,
dude, so that's how I have like sort of thought of it now. Like, I mentioned stardust earlier. Like, if you think about it on a fundamental level, like just like chemically, we're all kind of made up out of like the same matter essentially as like other things. So like, if you disperse that physical matter, like there's still like, I guess, energy there. And that's what I've always thought is that like, where you just kind of get released back out into the universe, and that you do like, the collective conscious theory is a fun one, but I personally think that like something akin to that, where like it happens after you die. So like as we're alive, we're singular entities, but then once that energy is released, it kind of returns to this like weird nebulous what is the like ether space, I guess, where we're all kind of like floating around looking at everything. Mm-hmm. Sort of like, but I also believe in the idea too that energy can like return, like this some like wheel of samsara Buddhist sort of idea of like, this is something I picked up in college too, as fucking cliche as that is, but like the idea of energy transference and the returning of energy, should it feel that it needs to be returned, I guess, like not fully in line with the idea of like reaching enlightenment, becoming a Buddha or Bodhisattva or whatever, but like more so just the idea of like there is like this weird ebb and flow of existence and non-existence in the universe, and we don't understand it, and we can't understand it right now. But yeah, not necessarily a hell or heaven, but just like that energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't just like, I mean, like, I think energy, I don't know if it applies, and the rules of like matter apply to energy, but like nothing is destroyed nor created. Like,
right.
It's just like recycled things. I think that holds true with what we consider a soul. I don't think it's, yeah. Sorry.
No, I agree. It's almost like I just watched the original Star Wars trilogy. I just finished that again. It's almost like the Jedi. Just like, it's like the Jedi when they, what does Yoda say? Lucid beings we are, not just crude matter. Yeah.
That's a cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's like
I forgot about that.
He's you become a force ghost or whatever, or your soul lives on.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, what happened. Because like I also got that.
That's kind of what the Force is. Like when I watched the original trilogy, that's kind of like reading all that stuff. It's that like the Force reminds me a lot about like of that is like the universe, and sort of like it's like a more scientific way of like
explaining
not heaven or hell. It's just like the Force is just. It's almost, it's just like the universe. It's the cosmos. It's just like sort of takes your energy and recycles it. And
I mean,
there's good vibes and bad vibes, and like good energy and bad energy. Like it's interesting. Even though I mean the original trilogy, it's mostly like black and white. It's like this is good, this is bad. I watched the prequel trilogy too. I could talk about that too. We'll finish our conversation about ghosts, but I want to talk about.
No, this is going to be Deadcast. I mean, last time we talked about Star Wars.
That's true. Okay, we'll talk about maybe another time.
But I was going to say like that was definitely something that I was influenced H.P. Lovecraft wise was because he wrote a story about like this guy was talking to this other guy, and he was like a professor who had learned that human beings were actually like fleshy prison cells for these like this ancient race of like hyper beings that were omnipotent and like sort of like the Q Collector from Star Trek. Like they had like immense amounts of powers. They didn't actually have bodies. Like they were like bodies of gas that just like existed in this like weird nebula out in space. And like thousands of years ago, they had pissed off another race that trapped them on Earth in human bodies, and that whenever a human dies, one of those beings has finished serving its sentence and returns home. It's just like I loved the idea.
That's
of,
a really neat idea. Yeah,
it also makes you feel so special because you're like, doesn't fucking matter. I'm trapped in this weird body, and then once I'm done with it, I'll go back to where I belong.
Yeah,
not that that's actually true, but the idea of that is like really fun. I don't know, and it's clearly based on some similar theory of like energy transference.
Yeah,
but anyway. That was just another. Yeah,
maybe I like that idea too. It gives, I mean, not the idea of being trapped inside another being, but the idea of the idea of energy transference. It gives you hope that there's a little bit of hope that your consciousness lives on in some form.
It also doesn't hinge on the theory that like you need to appease some greater higher power.
Oh no, yeah, like, I hate that too. Like
that's what I think is nice about it. Is it's like, well, as long as you're like, I feel like if you live a shitty life and it's all terrible, that energy transference is like maybe that's why ghosts have, because like ghosts cling around. Like a lot of ghosts are like violent, like in some areas, and it's like because they respond like those areas like some of the most haunted places. Or like places of like where great violence occurred,
like
or
prisons,
like, or like severe amounts of like emotional and physical pain,
right?
And so it's like if you live,
he talks about that in the book too, like that crisis, like that people in crisis,
maybe the memory of trauma, whatever. Sorry,
it's like people of like crisis and trauma, like that like leaves like an imprint, like that can leave an imprint, like because it's so severe and it's so like. The energy from it is so severe that it kind of just leaves like an imprint and like because that idea of like
a soul stain.
Yeah, like the repeating like there's the repeating ghosts where they just kind of like they just kind of do their routine or whatever, like they don't even realize that they're there or like so there's all those weird ideas. There's all it's so yeah. I think you're right. Like something about bad energy. I guess bad energy, bad vibes, whatever. Summer vibes, dude. It's just like, but like, yeah, it seems like good energy, or like if you live a good life, you kind of like
maybe you get set free. Yeah. If you live like shitty, you're like stuck there fucking with people. I can't remember what the point was that I was just.
But there are
making
some
with
good
that.
people who get trapped there too. That's the thing.
Maybe
like,
they wish to help.
I don't know. As the thing is, I'm not going to pretend like I understand it
there's no way.
I don't. This is just all theories, but I do think that there's something. I think
going
that there is a something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
God damn. I was like literally I was on a point about that, bringing up like maybe them getting trapped there, the negative energy affects like how that stuff like living in negative. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. So because you're not beholden to a creator, like maybe that's why they get trapped there, is because like either something bad happened to them, or they did something terrible, or like something. It takes away the idea of like an odd like moral hierarchy, I guess, of like, well, this is good and this is evil, and it creates like this gray, like you don't know necessarily why a soul gets trapped in a certain area. Like maybe it committed some sort of weird cosmological sin that to you doesn't seem evil, but on the grand scheme, some weird, I don't know.
Yeah, it becomes more gray, where like some people get left up, some people get trapped, some people get trapped for different reasons, some people go up for different reasons, like, or like not go up, but like the energy gets transferred different ways. It becomes more morally gray than
unless
then
like
it's good. You go up there because you're good.
Less
you go down
drastic.
Yeah, like
it's like like basically be true to yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like live your best life, because it doesn't really matter. No one's like, you don't know this. Like, there's no way for you to know this, and there's no way for you to know what to do right if there is some like greater power looking down on you. But this idea, I think, kind of like displaces that. It's like, even if there is, you have no way of interpreting it.
Yeah.
So whatever. Which kind of like, that's kind of funny. Dude, we shit on all the major religions no matter what we do. I just realized, like, we made fun of them in one episode for like, oh man, like, like religious people are crazy because they not crazy, but like, exaggerated terms. Like some religious folks are a little nutty because of like their beliefs, because religion's sort of funny. But then we just talked about this whole like crackpot theory of like energy transference and stuff. It's almost on the same level, but we still are like, no, don't go to your priest or whatever. It's not going to change anything.
Well, I don't want to shit on if anybody who is listening to this.
I mean, we could easily be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who's listening to this who is really religious in whatever sense. I'm not devaluing your religion. This is just our opinion, and we don't agree with it. We don't believe in it. I've never really wanted to believe in God. It was like, or any religion. It just always seemed in such fear. And such like
that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is like I guess it's nothing against like religious folk. It's just that like for me personally, it's like those doctrines, like especially like Christianity, like Catholicism, is like it's all like, I had never been to church, but the one time I went, it was all about like fearing him and doing all we can to prevent his wrath. And it's like like that is not a comforting to basically feeling like you're unwanted on your own planet.
Yeah, but he also loves you. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a really abusive relationship, I feel like. Like, I would rather, like, if I had to believe in something, I'd rather believe in this, where it's like, I don't have to please anyone other than myself and the people I enjoy being around. And then after that, who knows what happens.
I was watching something yesterday, I totally forget, but they said something about atheism, where they're saying atheism is great, but it lacks one thing, which is that, like, feeling of being a part of something, and like that feeling of like
you can find that in other
things. I guess you'd still consider me an atheist. I still don't believe, but like,
I mean, I'll say right now, like, I wanted to say this earlier. Actually, I really like the idea of us both researching this and you as a skeptical believer, maybe like you want to believe me, because I totally don't believe in any of it. Like I feel like that woman got really lucky. I know like I'd have to go see a medium, I guess.
Dude, I would say we should do this, but this is already a show. Like,
oh, that's
it's
true.
BuzzFeed Unsolved, because
it's right.
It's
they are so lame though.
They're so funny. Shane,
okay. So never mind.
Ryan is the one that believes like super hardcore, and Shane doesn't believe at all.
That's what I thought. That's what I think is funny is we both kind of don't believe. Oh shit!
I do believe.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you were a skeptical believer.
I am a skeptical. I don't believe in I don't believe in demons.
Here's the thing.
I don't believe in demons or angels. Like that's
okay.
I don't believe in that. Like I think all people who are possessed by demons are just mental illness or health problems, undiagnosed or misunderstood.
Yes.
I think that's what that is. Because it's just such a archaic idea.
Yeah.
And I don't really believe in that. I think ghosts are more of a scientific thing than they are
or at least potentially more
potentially more scientific than a religious thing or like a ethereal thing.
The mental gymnastics needed to believe in ghosts is more closely related to scientific theorizing rather than like theological assumptions.
Because if you think about it, the story of ghosts, the theological stuff of ghosts, it's the thing is, it's always confusing because there's always such different interpretations of like what a ghost
actually is and what its purpose is. I guess,
is it a soul trapped? Is it purgatory? Is it just like a videotape of somebody repeating their thing? How come there's certain ghosts that do that? How come there are certain ghosts who just kind of walk around and do whatever they want? How come ghosts are only trapped? How come some ghosts are only trapped to this specific place? How come some, like, it's unclear? And I think from a story, I think if you look at it more from a scientific perspective, maybe we'll be able to figure it out more than a theological story.
There feels like a more reasonable,
make up whatever you want.
There feels like a more reasonable explanation that you can base on real facts that are tangible that you understand versus like we said a second ago, the loving and wrathful God, basically, that because I like the idea of like us approaching, like, because like I would love to believe in ghosts. It seems like a fun thing, and it's like, and you're kind of pushing me there with this idea of like energy transference. Yeah, but I'm still firmly in the boat of like, no, I don't think that that's the case. I like the idea of that. It's a comforting idea, and like, it's one that like I'm more willing to buy into when I'm having an existential crisis. Yeah, but like, I don't know, but yeah, you're making a good point in that like.
Listen, I'm not trying to convert you, or
I'm not. I don't think you are. Like, we're just having we're having a cool chat about ghosts.
Yeah, this is what I think. And I'm still very skeptical. Like I said, I think 90% of what people see or experience can be explained to something else, like
chalked up to something real.
Yeah, it can. Your mind playing tricks on you, or whatever. You want to see something there. You know, when you're in the dark. You're afraid, and your survival instincts kick in, and your brain wants to see something there because it thinks there's a danger. So it wants to see a figure. So it might create a ghost. It wants to hear a sound. It wants to know that there's something there.
I would say, I'd say that I'm not one of those skeptics that's like shitting on it, trying to disprove it. I'm a skeptic trying to prove it, if that makes sense.
No, If anything, I'm a skeptic who believes,
because, dude. Yeah. What if we understood that we could really be actual necromancers? That'd be so cool.
We'd be so more prepared for the...
Dude, well, like, imagine if you had a real understanding of it, and then, like, you could go beyond the medium. You could, like, summon spirits, like, tangibly there to, like, do things for you. That'd be so fucking cool. Yeah. Because, like, I mentioned that earlier about, like, that's technically... Because, like, what she did right there... If you read about necromancy, because the term necromancy, like, in history has been like subject to a lot of weirdness because like the Latin translation for black and necro and like death are very similar in that like nigri, I think, like nigri is like they're Latin for black, and then like necron or necra something is for death. And in translating those things, like black arts versus like the spirit, like death arts, like black arts being dealings with devils and demons and things like that.
Right.
that is like Satanistic black magic. And then there's necromancy, which is purely dealing with like spirits. And the idea of like necromancy, like a medium, like what a medium supposedly does is textbook necromancy, in that it's like they don't have information that they want. And so they turn to a supernatural force such as the dead, because the dead have the ability to like, either they're part of a collective conscience in that like they can speak to other dead people like Alexander the Great, for example, and get information that you would otherwise not have. Or they can like in your grandfather's case, he can like look over your family and see like what's going on. And the medium can like that is what a necromancer does. They talk to the dead to get advice on what they should do. And so like imagine if we did prove this as a science and it went from like necromancy to like necroology. And we're like,
yeah, exactly.
That'd be so fucking crazy. And it's like, what a weird whatever. I gotta say, as we're talking about this, like I'm writing a whole bunch of stuff with a friend of mine for a D&D campaign we're doing. And I'm working a lot on the creation of the world. So when we were talking about like energy transference and like life after death, these are the things I'm creating for this fantasy world we're working on. So I'm like super in that mode right now. Like, what if this? Which is why I was like, let's not talk about Star Wars. Let's just keep talking about that.
It's very interesting. I think it's very fascinating.
Excuse me.
This all started when I watched Ghostbusters again.
Yes!
And I started listening to Dan Aykroyd.
Dude, this whole time I've been thinking about that.
Because I got into Ghostbusters. I mean, I've always liked Ghostbusters, but after watching it again, I think it has now become like my favorite movie. Like, because it's just so fucking amazing.
That's so good.
And playing the video game, and I even like Ghostbusters 2. I know Ghostbusters 2 isn't very well liked, but I love Ghostbusters 2. I
haven't seen either. In fact, we're gonna have to sit down and do like a back-to-back.
Yeah, we should. I have both on DVD. So
oh fuck, that's right. Yeah, you came over the other day. All we did was play Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
and we had all those movies.
But I listening to Dan Aykroyd spill his crazy fucking theories about ghosts.
He's kind of wacky. I haven't heard that in a while.
He believes in it more than I do, and he's like super, because he like his whole family has researched like his dad and his mom have researched ghosts, and like his grandparents, and
he's the real Danny.
He had like a family medium and shit like that for like years. So like they are necromancers. Yeah, so they had he's like super into that stuff. And his dad has written a book, and he's the real Ghostbuster. He really is like.
To him, those movies are a document.
To him, the movies are like,
no, my parents did this. This is a real thing.
Yeah,
my parents did this when I was a boy.
He mentions in like the behind the scenes for the video game that he was like, it would probably cost about $10 billion to create a proton pack. Like he thinks that they're real.
Yes,
like he thinks that proton pack. And I actually researched it. You can technically create a proton pack, but not in the way the movie is doing it. Okay. Just like it's not gonna shoot this stream of
but it will capture
electrically charged,
and we should be capturing and enslaving
can shoot
ghosts.
A stream of protons, and it won't hurt humans, and it's not this like destructive beam.
Dude, why are we not making?
That's what I was saying. We should going to places. Someone should create a proton pack ghosts and see if it can actually touch a ghost,
dude. Yes.
But in order for that to happen, you would have to, in order for the experiment to work, you would have to actually assume that ghosts are real, and you would have to actually like. I don't know. That'd be tough.
It has nothing to do with believing. We're proving ghosts now with science, and we will use our proton packs to enslave them and carry out our will. But you'd have
to actually be in front of a ghost because it wouldn't actually shoot that.
That's what I'm saying.
You would have to be this close for me to like. You'd have to be like as the technology is right now. Yeah, we'd have to be like.
I love that.
Me and you that close. Like
get up on a ghost.
Yeah, to like actually shoot the stream because the stream can't shoot that far. Someone did a video. It was that science. It was the Because Science guy, the Because Science channel. He was like talking about it. That like proton, because like there's the cyclotron on the proton pack, or the cyclotron. There's the other thing, and like that actually is a real thing. Like it's just like a mini version on the back of the proton pack, and you can actually shoot a stream. What? But it's like not like the like the movie,
and it doesn't shoot far. It's just like a little
and it's not.
It's a stream of protons.
Again, you can shoot at a human. If I remember what he said correctly, you could shoot at a human. It won't like blast them. It's not like that. But That's what I'm saying. Like, we should use it and try. Someone should create it and try it.
That is amazing, and I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a thing. I knew Dan Aykroyd was like obsessed with ghosts and like believed that they thought they were real and stuff. Yeah, but I had no idea like his family was invested in it, and that like
he talked about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's like he goes like in depth. It's really crazy.
Oh my god, he talks to weirdos. Joe Rogan. He talked to a mushroom hat guy at one point about like mushrooms. And
I like Joe. I didn't really like Joe Rogan that much, but I like Joe Rogan now.
I guess I'll give him a try. I've never liked him.
I just watched the clips. The only one I watched fully was the Dan Aykroyd one because I was curious.
My old roommate really likes Joe Rogan, and I saw his stand up, and I couldn't get through it like the first like 10 minutes.
I haven't watched his stand up, and I don't think I would like his stand up.
It was not good.
I like his podcast. I like watching clips of it. Okay. He has cool guests. I just like
I've never seen the podcast.
Whenever there's a cool guest on there, I'll watch it.
I know the logo, like the image for his podcast is really funny looking.
Yeah.
I'll say this, that image, that like third eye image thing, like to me is, I don't know Joe Rogan, but that feels like such a jerk off, like, oh, look at how much of a badass
he's kind of a dude, bro. He's kind of a dude, bro, and you really do have to take everything with a grain of salt because he has a lot of different guests on the show, and a lot of them have. I mean, that's like the thing that people like about his show is he has a lot of different people on the show with a lot of conflicting opinions, and they have all these weird ideas, and so you really do have to take everything with a grain of salt, and you believe
he's an entertainer. He's not
believe
like
what you want to believe. Yeah, like. He has his own weird theories that you just take with a grain of salt. It's just it's entertaining to watch. It's cool. Sometimes a guest will be on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of agree with what they're saying. Yeah, you know.
I see what you're saying. I would say his podcast is probably better than for that sake, because I was gonna say his stand up was just like, all right, dude, I get it.
When he has comedians on, it's great.
Yeah.
When he has like other comedians on and they talk about comedian stuff, it's great. It's because it's really funny and they have a good rapport and they really relate to each other. Right. Yeah, it's like when you watch a late night show, like you watch Conan and there's like another comedian on. And the guest seems like super relaxed because Conan is a comedian himself. Like was a writer for SNL.
It's like he wrote on a lot of stuff. He wrote for Simpsons for a while too.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like when Scott Aukerman has Paul F. Tompkins on for the best ofs, and it's just like it's gold because those two are just like, at least to me, I think they go great together. Yeah, dude, I don't mean to shit on Joe Rogan. I don't know anything about him
either. I didn't like him for a while because I was just like, this dude's kind of a fucking douchebag.
He felt like, because watching his stand up, like, I was like, dude, it feels like you're jumping on the bandwagon of like, let's shit on PC culture, right? Haha, like wink, wink, we're all in on how stupid this is, right? And it's like, yeah, but
he is like that a little bit. I mean, I don't like everything that Joe Rogan does, and I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a Joe Rogan fan. I just like. Sometimes the podcast is cool. Like, if I'm bored, I'll listen to it.
I'm shitting all over you for this, Derek. I'm accusing you. I'm putting you on trial here now. I'm just kidding. No, I know a lot of people that love his podcast. I've just never listened to it. But anyway, enough about that wacko.
No, fucking weirdo.
And his monkey weights.
His monkey weights?
Yeah, he made like pool weights. That
he always talks about the dumbbells. Like, dude, dumbbells, kettlebells, dude. That's the best workout.
It's actually really bad for your body.
He always talks about the dumbbells, kettlebells.
I heard
kettlebells get you fucking swole, dude. That's like his thing. Someone made a video, like it was like one of those videos. Someone watched the Joe Rogan podcast once, and it's like, dude, you can like DMT is the gateway to another dimension. Like, because he always talks about DMT. He's always talking about elk. He's like, dude, elk is the best. Like, get you gains is full of iron. Or like he always talks about. My God. Joe Rogan always posts pictures of him running with his dog. Like, best training partner right here.
Yeah, that pisses me off. I hate people.
Like, you can still smoke weed and be productive. Like, he always talks about like weed, DMT, elk, kettlebells, working out.
So cool, man.
Yeah. So he is kind of a douchebag. He's kind of a
dude. Yeah, like I know a guy. I used to know this guy. I used to live with him, and we're like enemies now. Sadly, that's how some move outs happen. But he's like a big health nut. His mom's a big health nut. And I remember I was going to the gym and I was explaining my workout regimen to him once. And he was like, you might want to avoid doing weights as often, like maybe only once a week or if at all. And I was like, what do you mean? He explained to me like, and my dad has explained this to me too. And now that I think about it, dude, weightlifting is actually super bad for your body and like destroys it. Like it's really bad for your joints in particular.
I don't really do, like, when I work out, I'm not working out right now, but when I do, when I did, I only did body weight stuff because I like body weight stuff. Body weight stuff is, to me, it's more fun. I don't like lifting weights. I don't like just standing there and like
lifting weights is fucking boring.
Yeah, it's just you're just standing there and lifting out. Like, at least with body weight stuff, you're doing like jumping jacks or push-ups.
You feel more engaged in your workout.
Yeah, burpees
way better for you.
Burpees are really good for you. Like, I love doing burpees. Like,
like
it's just it's more fun to do.
My brother Zach, like you talk about like, oh, you get gains with these kettles and stuff. My brother Zach used to just do free weight, like not free weight, but body weight stuff, like in running and like certain exercises.
Calisthenics, is that what it's called?
And he got shredded.
Yeah,
like he was huge for a while.
It's just so natural. It's just like it's just
what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's just a natural way to work out your body. So,
dude, I used to be really into, not anymore because I think it's kind of silly, but I used to be really into this idea of like naturalism workouts where like you go run around a cross country trail and like instead of lifting weights, you lift like rocks and stuff, and like you, like one of the training regimens was to like climb a tree. And climb back down, and like swimming was a big one that they would use. I used to do that in high school, and I will say climbing a tree is a nice. The idea was if you do workouts in a gym, you're doing it the same way in the same motion. You're only using so many muscles unless you do like
when you're climbing a tree. There are so many ways you can climb a tree. Yeah,
it's about elasticity of the tendons and stuff, and stronger auxiliary muscles, the muscles that like help support balance and stuff. And the idea is like, if you're just doing pull-ups, you're only working those certain muscle groups. But if you do something like climb a tree or swim or like run through the forest, you're not just like plodding along on flat ground. You're forcing your ankles to react, your knees to react. You're forcing your like joints to do stuff. And it's like, I don't know, it's supposed to be better for you. It's also way more fun to go run around in the woods than it is to hang out in a gym. So
I'm afraid of heights. I would do like that. Really
I wouldn't climb like really. The thing was like no more than like 5 feet.
And I'm always afraid the branches are going to snap.
That's true.
That's the one problem that I have.
See, I when I was like in high school, I lived in the middle of nowhere.
That's
so
true.
Like I had plenty of.
Yeah,
like I had
sturdy trees. Yeah, plenty of trees to pick from.
Yeah, I was just that's what I was trying to say. I had a big crop of trees to run around on. Anyway, wow, what an
interesting episode.
We went from like hardcore death talk and weird spirit like science, not spirit science, but stuff to Joe Rogan to workouts.
Yeah.
Now that we talk about being dead, let's talk about keeping yourself alive.
Yeah,
work out,
exactly.
Stay healthy. Eat elk.
I don't work. Eat elk. Smoke weed. It makes you more productive.
I mean, it depends on the weed strain, I guess. Yeah. I smoke weed all the time. Yeah, I mean, we're at about an hour. We could change. We could switch gears. I was totally set to just talk about dead stuff for the whole time. I didn't mean to like curb the Star Wars thing, but like we
can talk about something dead. We can talk about Star Wars.
Well, I was gonna say like we've talked about Star Wars a lot, and especially the last episode, one of the last ones we put out was like all Star Wars focused.
Yeah,
and so I was kind of like, well, let's.
I've just been on a Star Wars kick.
No, that's fair.
I watched Rise of Skywalker, and then I was like, "This is really bad." I wanted to watch when Star Wars was actually good.
Yeah, right. I had that thought this morning. I have a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, like that fight they have. Maybe it's not from the movie in particular. But he's got his black suit and his robot hand and his green lightsaber, and it's him facing off against.
Yeah, that's Darth from Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Then in the end.
Yeah.
Just on the graphic on the mug does not look like it's from the movie.
I wanted to watch when Star Wars was actually good.
But
it was great. And then
I was drinking out of that, and I had that thought. I thought about the video you sent me of all the people reacting to what is it called?
Oh, Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Like, I fucking hate Star Wars.
That was very funny.
It was very funny. It makes me laugh every time because it's like, that's what I feel on the inside. Is like.
I think it's silly for people to like, I want my money back. It's like, all right, shut up.
Yeah, that was where I was like, okay, but
get over it.
But I understand the outrage.
Sure.
I was like, oh man.
But I was thinking about that earlier today.
I watched the original trilogy. That was great, and then I also watched the prequel trilogy with my friend. And
what'd you think of that?
Oh my fucking god, dude, they are worse than I remember.
Really? Because you were like almost giving them praise the other day in comparison to these newer ones.
Right.
But would you say the same
I was
now?
fucking wrong.
Right,
dude.
okay.
I was so fucking wrong.
I haven't seen them either, but I remember even as a kid, like...
As a kid, I love them because, well, as a kid, you don't really understand.
I liked the fight scenes, but I didn't... I still thought that they were like a little dry.
When I was a kid, yeah, I didn't really care about the
But I was
plot.
also older. I was like a teenager when I first saw them.
When I was a kid, I didn't really care about the plot. I just loved the lightsaber fights. And you don't really understand the plot. When you watch it now, you're like, oh, this is really bad, and I still don't understand the plot.
Oh, okay.
Because it's really confusing. I won't go into it a lot because this would be a whole nother video.
Okay.
A whole other podcast. But
that's fair. We could do another Star Wars rant.
Quick rant. The special effects are the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They look like video game. You look like you're watching like a video game cutscene. The story doesn't make any sense. The only one that makes sense is Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
But even then, that's still bad because it has terrible acting and terrible CGI. And I don't like some of the stuff they do in the prequels. I don't like how they actually make the Jedi look awful. Like in the prequels, they make the Jedi seem like this pretentious group of people. When in the original trilogy, it was supposed to be like, oh, there was this lost Jedi Order that like kept the peace, and then they got.
I kind of like the rose-tinted lens memory thing of like they were great, but they weren't really. But sorry.
No, but I don't know. Like you watched the original trilogy, and that was the whole point. Was like there was
Ancient
this
order.
lost order, this great order that was destroyed by the dark side, and Obi-Wan and Yoda are the last remnants of the order. And then like I liked that. This makes it seem like
it kind of ruins that. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of ruins it. Of like, okay, what do I care about Obi-Wan then if he's part of this order that like sucks? What do I care about Yoda? Yoda. Like was fighting the Emperor and then just gave up.
Shouldn't even made it because I was gonna say like I have always liked the sort of ironic, almost like oh my god, like these ancient warriors from the past were like amazing, and then like you resummon them or something, or you find them somehow. Like in a lot of fantasy worlds, they'll resummon a lost army or something, or they'll resurrect a lost king, and the whole time it's like yes, we've got these great warriors back. I love when there's a twist of like. Oh, they weren't actually that great. It's just the history books said they were great. But in this case, I guess it's not the same. I'd have to go watch them again.
It just kind of ruins it because that was not the intention of the original films. When you watch the original films just as is, it's like, oh yeah, there was this great Jedi Order and they were lost and then they got destroyed and the Empire took over. When you watch the prequels, it's like, oh well, what do I even care about Obi-Wan and the Jedi anymore? Like they suck. The Jedi Order
it doesn't even
sucks.
feel like a cool pretension like elves. It just feels like a. I see what you mean. I haven't seen them in forever either, so I'm just playing like devil's advocate.
In theory, it's cool because it's like, oh yeah, it's the takedown of an empire and like democracy is fragile or whatever.
Yeah,
but if you had made those movies first,
I see what you mean.
Then maybe it would have been. I don't know. It's just like.
Yeah, they kind of just ruined their own history and made it look lame.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
The redeeming and, everything else is kind of shitty. But I watched The Mandalorian.
Oh, right.
And
we didn't even
I just wanted to say really quick about
that.
The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is everything that we had talked about for our, like, we had mentioned what would be good for a Star Wars sequel where, like, we should see the aftermath of the Empire and like crime.
I've
and
only
bounty
seen the first
hunting.
2 episodes or the first episode.
It's everything that we had talked about.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Literally like I watched it and it was literally everything that we had said that we wanted. Where it was like aftermath of the Empire, crime, bounty hunting, like smaller scale stories. It's everything that we wanted. And like
cool.
It is a new hope for Star Wars. It really is. Like Star Wars episodes, cool. A New Hope.
Yeah, if we have to have more Star Wars stuff, which it looks like Disney says we do,
but it's actually like creating
that's what I'm saying.
Good. Like
that's what I'm trying to say is like if we have to keep beating the dead horse, we may as well find stuff like this in it where it's like cool, like not the Skywalker bullshit, but like these. That's what I was trying to say.
Well, that's the thing is they've beaten the fuck out of the Force.
Exactly. Yeah,
they've beaten the shit out of the Force and the Jedi. I don't care about the Force and the Jedi anymore. I want something different.
They've created
and the Mandalorians and the bounty hunters is a perfect avenue to take that story.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
They've created this big cool world, but they've just keep looking in the exact same spot and they haven't shifted focus. And it sounds like what you're telling me is that they have. That's excellent. That's awesome. Oh, I just wanted to say I'm looking at. I'll maybe this afternoon I'll watch the prequels. I'll throw them on in the background. Just so I can have a fresh look at them.
Yeah, it's they're so bad.
Because I'm looking at what you just mentioned from the perspective of what I know from like all the games that have talked about it, and the pretentious Jedi is like that is always a theme, like in expanded universe stuff from before like the Empire and all that. That was always a theme of like why the Sith hate the Jedi is like they're way too pretentious and they don't do anything. Like they have all this power and they don't use it to do anything. Whereas the Sith are like, we have all this power, let's use it to rule. Mm-hmm. The Jedi are kind of like, no, we're so special.
Yeah.
And so like when you said that, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun because from the games I've played, like that was always a fun narrative, but it doesn't sound like the prequels actually handle that well. Well,
at least I mean, like
they
at
lose
least
the
for,
coolness.
At least for me, I don't like it.
Well, that's why I want to watch
the specialness of the original trilogy was there was this lost Jedi Order. They were great, and then Obi-Wan, Yoda, they're the remnants of it, and they have to bring it back up. That's like the story, and that works. For me, it just doesn't work when you show the prequels and you show that our heroes actually kind of suck.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to root for them anymore because I'm like, oh, well, why would I they kind of sucked. Maybe they kind of deserved it.
You know what? It'd be one thing if specifically Obi-Wan and Yoda were awesome above all. It's like the Order was great. Some people kind of sucked, but we were awesome. And like, it'd be one thing if they really showed that.
And I think in the prequels, that's what they were trying to show was like,
but it didn't.
Yoda and Obi-Wan were the good ones, but it didn't really for me, it didn't come across as that. To me, it came across as like, oh, this Order died. They kind of deserved it.
Yeah, they kind of ruined
They got what they were coming for them, like,
I see what you're
you kind of start rooting for Anakin, really. Like, I was like, yeah, Anakin, you're right, dude. Yeah.
Fuck these guys.
Like, and I'm supposed to disagree with him. He's a villain. He's technically a villain. I'm supposed to disagree with him.
All right.
I can see his standpoint, but I'm not supposed to, like, agree.
I'm not a fan of the prequels. But again, like I haven't seen them recently, so and yes, I think I see what you're saying. Now I really want to watch them.
Yeah, I definitely I would recommend. Yeah, I would recommend watching them just so you can see like
with this perspective
how bad they are, how not to do it. With these new and they're obviously I think they're worse than this new trilogy. Okay. At least the new trilogy has good special effects, good actors. I don't like Rise of Skywalker, but I'd rather watch Rise of Skywalker than any of the prequels. I like Force Awakens. I think Force Awakens...
Yeah, Force Awakens wasn't terrible.
Force Awakens is good and has a lot of potential. That's why I like it, because it had so much potential.
Force Awakens for me was like, oh, sweet, New Hope again. Like it had that feeling. Because like I remember watching that with like my dad and stuff, and I had all those like, oh my god, it feels the same. But they kind of bungled it up. The last
they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan for this entire trilogy. There was no
dude, that second movie
there was no
mess.
There was no out like that's the thing is Kathleen Kennedy didn't plan out the trilogy. She didn't have a outline of like, okay, this is where we're gonna go with the story. They literally just they just played it by ear. They were like, okay, here's the first one, what are we gonna do for the second one? And then like
dude, that's what I was saying last time.
At least George at least with the prequels, I'm not saying it's better, but at least with the prequels, George planned out what he wanted to do, like for the trilogy.
That's probably why it's so comprehensive.
Yeah,
and it wraps up so well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been cutting you off this entire podcast.
No, dude, it's fine. It's just so. And I think I'm done. I was gonna start watching the Clone Wars, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to watch the Clone Wars because.
Did you just get through Phantom Menace and we're like, fuck it?
No, we watched the whole trilogy. No, I meant
the show,
the cartoon, the Clone Wars.
There are two. And I remember there was one.
Yes, there were two.
There was like a 2D one.
There's a 2D one and there's a 3D one, yes. The 3D one is the one that everybody says is amazing. But I don't really want to watch it because I'm like, well...
It's hard for me to watch
it might be good, but it's not going to fix the prequels. Unless they make... There's a 7-season... There's a final season coming out now, like soon. They're making the final... Because the last season ended on a cliffhanger. So, like, after so many years, now they're making the final season. And if this final season ends with Anakin becoming Darth Vader, and it basically is like
The
a
movie.
better version of the prequels, I may watch it. Just so I could have this new, like, okay, this is
a cooler perspective.
This is the actual prequels. This
see.
cartoon show? This is the actual prequels. This is
Dude.
better than the fucking movies. If it doesn't end like that, then I don't think I want to spend my time watching it.
I would like to get into shows like that, but I have such a hard time watching because that's made ostensibly for kids, and so the
right,
writing.
But it has a lot of adult.
No,
from what I've heard, it has a lot of adult.
I hear that stuff too, and that doesn't make up the gap for me because like it's
Dude,
written.
I didn't finish the first episode, and it's already better than. Like,
no, I know.
It's a great introduction.
This is a completely personal preference.
No, I know.
This
I'm just saying, like,
I'll give it a shot, but like I haven't. Even when I was a kid, like in high school, I tried to watch it because everybody I knew liked it, and like even then, like I have a really hard time giving the go and sitting down and watching kid stuff unless it appealed to me as a kid because like I just can't sit through the writing because it's for children and like they add in like jokes that are like, oh, okay, whatever, like cliche, something interesting. Anyway, whatever. That's just like me whinging about it. But like I had always wanted to get into that show. Yeah. And I just like I have a hard time watching it.
Maybe we can talk more about Star Wars next time because now we're getting to an hour.
I was gonna say
maybe we'll get into more Star Wars stuff next time. I'm sorry. I got Star Wars fever right now.
No, that's fair.
I just have a lot of year for it. I just have a lot of gripes.
When it's winter and spring, I'm always Star Wars oriented.
I just have so many gripes with Star Wars,
dude.
And I might be beating a dead bush by complaining about Star Wars, but I have so many.
Let's just do another Star Wars.
I just have so many gripes with Star Wars.
Another Star Wars.
Anything outside of the original trilogy and the Mandalorian was such a breath of fresh air. Anything outside of the original trilogy or because the Mandalorian is technically a sequel to Return of the Jedi.
Reading some of those books. Let's find.
I don't know, just like
some Bane series.
The original trilogy and the Mandalorian to me are like the only good Star Wars content. I like Solo because it was fun, but it has it's really not perfect.
I liked Rogue One.
Rogue One is good, but it's just full of member berries. Where it's just like, remember this, remember that.
That's true. That's a funny term. What did you say? Member berries?
Well, it's from South Park.
Oh my god, I
didn't South Park thing.
I never really watched
member
South
berries.
Park.
Like remember R2D2, like whatever, just like eating.
That's funny.
It's funny.
I've got this Theracane in my back and I'm freaking out. Anyway.
All right.
I just wanted to wrap on the Star Wars thing by saying I can't watch kid shows because I'm so fucking cool and grown up.
Yeah.
Anyway, like just such a mature guy. I don't even eat cookies. I say that. I've been eating gummy bears by the handful all week. That
bag.
Massive bag of gummy bears is still here. Anyway, this is a nice deadly cast.
Nice Deadcast.
I hope everybody enjoyed. I have some guests in mind that will be getting on here at some point soon. We were talking about that before we actually started recording this. But anyway, look forward to that. We'll finally actually do what we've been meaning to and have the improv segments and that stuff. And we'll have some fresh blood. It won't just be Derek and me for once.
Fresh blood, fresh meat. Gonna eat them up. Cook them, serve them.
Raw, boiled, cooked, who knows? Rubbed in dirt and thrown in your eye. we'll do something.
Maybe in a nice stew or pie. See that rhyme?
A rhyme master. We got a rhyme lord over here. Stop doing that. Don't chew in the mic. Anyway, this has been Human Pasta. And Gummy Bears. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You're so... All right.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh.